All right, what is up, traders? My name is Heath, and this is Trade Talk. Let me know in the comment section, please, if you can hear my voice and see my screen. All right, so first off, we're going to start with CAD Yen. CAD Yen it's been an asset that I've been watching for a couple weeks now because it is forming this area up here, right up here into this resistance. As you can see, we did take out that target from last week. All right, from last week, we got that right here was a target that we were looking at, and we did take this target out. What is going on with this magnet tool? There we go. All right, so basically, we took that target out, and this thing has been going absolutely, it's just been trading in a range ever since. So we were unable to trade lower. I mean, we did close a candle, but then we broke back up out of there. So today I was looking at this asset ready to take it long, basically looking for this to break out. There isn't really anything else up here for it, to hold it. But it is still being held. So basically, when I was looking at this intraday, I was looking for a long trade to take this for a breakout. And this was all basically happening around this area this morning. So essentially, I was watching this on the 5-minute chart. I'm going to go over the intraday trades that I took today, and then I'm going to go over the longer dated trends or trades that I'm looking for to play out. So just bear with me real quick. Let me get this out of the way. What's up, Tom? What's up, Eniat? We're going to basically... Yeah, let's do this. All right, so CAD Yen, this was what we were looking at this morning. Instead of going short on this did give us a beautiful, beautiful short signal this morning. But the thing is it was green on the daily. If you look at a daily chart, it is absolutely in an uptrend for the near term. You know what I mean? And you're trading within this range. Every momentum oscillator on the indicator side of things was pointing at this as a sell, but we're not selling into that. We were looking for this to be broken and a possible breakout. So back on the 5-minute chart, you can see clearly that once we traded up into this area, we were showing massive signs of not being able to break out. So I got long on this wick right here, on this 5-minute wick down. I got long basically looking at this last bearish candle here, using that as my marker. We didn't trade all the way down to that, and we started moving up, so I got long. So basically right here on this failure, I got out of the trade, especially because it was not able to close a 5-minute candle above that. We had a closure down here, and then the very next candle that opened up started to move lower. So I exited the trade right about break even. But my bias was still absolutely bullish on this asset, simply because of everything that I said earlier. On the daily time frame, it was green at 7 o'clock in the morning. The daily candle was green. The overall trend is bullish, so I was looking for this to break out. Now, we got a lot of selling pressure that came in. So this little area that I have marked right here on my chart was essentially just the Asian session. Like this was happening during the New York session yesterday, and then during the Asian session we just traded up a little bit like this and then made this fake move here. We got a closure below this market structure, and then we immediately traded out of that area, and we never came back to test that. So essentially I was telling myself on the daily time frame, moving lower, if we start closing 15-minute candles below 81.689, then I no longer like this bullish. However, you can see we did not even take that. We didn't even test that line. So I went ahead and took another long position, expecting this to break out. So far, that position is well within profits. However, this is not a scalp trade. I took this on the base of a swing trade, essentially looking for this thing to break up out of this, all of this nonsense that we have going on here. Now we had a nice strong push. Let me stretch this out for a little bit. We had a nice strong push right back up into that area. At this point, last week, I was looking at this to roll over. You know what I mean? But it didn't. It stayed up above this area. So we had a strong push up back up into the resistance, and we've been trading basically sideways ever since. So this is where we were this morning. This was just a wick down. And as you can see with this 8-hour candle, that is a strong bullish candle. This candle was obviously red when I took the trade. Excuse me. There are hourly structures in here that I'm also watching, basically just wanting to see if this thing wants to trade out of here. All right. So that's what I got going on CAD yen. All right. Now let's go over here to this other trade that I took today on SAVA, which was an absolute monster home run trade. Now this is a biotech company. All right. And it released some promising data on a study evaluating the drug called Simufilm. I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but the news was good. That drug is a candidate for the treatment of Alzheimer's, which is phenomenal as far as the market's concerned, because you had a massive gap up. This morning when I looked at this thing, it was trading at like 68%. All right, first thing in the morning, as soon as the market opened, this thing was up 68%. So essentially, I'm thinking that this is going to be a stock in play today. All right. So basically, we had this big push up and then we consolidated. But you can see here the light blue and the darker blue lines are the EMA 9 exponential moving average. And then you have just the VWAP, which is basically the only tools that I use trading intraday. So essentially, we traded down into this area. Now, obviously, everybody's looking to short this because it's up 68% and there's a massive gap below. But what I see is when price trades underneath the VWAP and EMA, it immediately comes out of the area and then starts to trade lower. So at this point, on a 3-minute chart, because that's how I day trade stocks, I'm looking at this bearish candle right here. I was watching this bearish candle at first, but we simply traded and closed beneath that bearish candle. So my EMA and my VWAP is right here. Some day traders call that the trade line, the EMA exponential 9 moving average. I just call it the 9 exponential moving average with the VWAP. So basically I'm watching this candle. We closed below it. So the next bearish candle, I'm watching what price does once it comes into that candle. You can clearly see that once we got down into it, we traded higher. And then the reason this price looks terrible on TradingView is because it wasn't trading with a crap ton of volume at this point. All right. So basically we just traded and we treated that area as support. So once this candle popped out and then this candle, we didn't even get a wick below. I mean, it just immediately started trading up. I entered long. I got filled at $38.61. I had a $1 stop loss. All right, $1 stop loss. So essentially, my goal is once I enter these trades is I'm looking for 2 candles, 2 3-minute candles that open and close beneath the 3-minute or the exponential 9 EMA, this line right here. So that's how I basically use this tool to assess my day trade. So basically, if we start closing 3-minute candles below that line, then that tells me that the trade probably isn't going my way. But as you can see, we popped up out of there pretty nice and strong. The VWAP was under current price. This is when a lot of traders start to dive into this thing long, buying it up like piranhas in meat infested waters. And as you can see, this thing basically just took off. And I mean, it was insane. I made a little bit better than $25 per share on this trade. Now I exited the trade. No, it was up here. Yeah, right here. Basically, I was wanting to exit here, but since this candle opened above the EMA and closed below it, I like 2 opens and 2 closes below it. We essentially came right up out of there, tested this candle as support and took off again for a second leg up. So as you can see, this strong bearish candle right here came in, all right, and then this one opened beneath the line and closed beneath the line, and then I got that second 3-minute candle right here opening and closing beneath the line, the 9 EMA. So essentially at this point, I am looking for an exit on this trade. This bullish candle came in. For me, I was assuming that it was going to stop at the 9 EMA, so I exited the trade and I got filled at $64.30. So essentially that was $25.69 per share. It was a phenomenal trade. It's one of the greatest that I've had this year so far. I understand that it's just February, but the markets have been absolutely killing it last year and this year, man. There's been so many awesome plays within the day trading realm of things. So Sava, I salute you. I appreciate it. All right, so we're gonna go over some other things. I just wanted to show you, this was the only day trade I took in the stock market today, essentially because I had my eyes on it basically the whole day. Now, let's go into silver real quick. Well, let's get back over here and get into it the right way. Over here we go. All right, so silver had a big strong push. Everybody knows that, right? And everybody's freaking out because of this massive selling pressure that's coming into this thing. Now, I had support areas marked out on hourly candles. This was one right here at 27.04. And then this was one down here at, come on, TradingView, don't do this. Right here. So essentially, these were my two areas of watching. Now, this was the breakout candle, and then we traded up higher, and now you're back down into it. All right. So going back down to up to an 8-hour time frame, you can see that, yeah, we are trading back below this market structure swing high, but we are still trading above the original push up. All right. So as far as I'm concerned, this has shown me nothing yet to exit my calls that I have on SLV. All right. I can't trade silver because I'm in America. This basically is not something that I can trade. So I have to trade it using the stock market. All right. So the best way to trade that is with SLV. So essentially what I'm looking for on this is to see if it holds this area as support. Now, we don't know if it will. This is the thing with trading. We never know what's going to happen. We have to let price dictate the areas to which it wants to find support. Currently, it is holding support at 26.47, which is indicated by this white line and simply the opening price of this bearish candle. So when I wake up in the morning, if we're trading below this area, then I might be looking at exiting those calls that I have on SLV. All right. So, but as of right now, this thing is bullish. You had a breakout, and simply now you're just retesting the breakout to see if you can find support. So one thing you have to know about silver is that I know everybody's jacked up about Wall Street bets and everything with all the other stocks that's been happening with GameStop, Bed Bath & Beyond, AMC, and all these other things. They're not going to be able to move silver around like that. Silver it's a commodity. All right. It is extremely liquid. So many people buy gold and silver just to sit on it. This thing has so much money in it that you're not going to be able to bully it around with 5 million people buying calls and price. I mean, there's 5 million people that's buying and selling this thing every single day. So this thing has got so much liquidity into it. It's not going to be a bullied play. I wasn't looking at this because someone said Wall Street Bets was. I was looking at this because of the price action. I am a price action trader. This thing is making, let me get it up here so I can actually deal with it. This thing has been bullish since we had, I mean, that's bullish. I had another trend line coming off from the highs up here that it did break through it. Let's go ahead and put that trend line up there. You know what I mean? You did get a break through that, and you did close back below it. All right, so that's a nasty looking, absolute nasty looking candle, and this is a 3-day time frame, and you got 20 hours left on this candle before it actually fills out. So where is it going to fill out? Well, if it fills out like here or lower, that is a nasty candle, and we are probably in for lower prices on silver. All right, and that will have a lot to do with the DXY, the dollar index. All right, so I am not bullish on the dollar index, not yet. But if I throw a trend line up here, you can see that on a 3-day chart, we are currently testing this breakout on this trend line. All right, now that is kind of a steep downtrend trend line, but if you look at price action, it was a pretty steep sell-off. So I am expecting this to bounce out of this area. And since everybody and their brother is short the dollar right now, I would absolutely be looking for a pop in price to stop out most of the price chasers that got short anywhere here or lower. So this move higher is absolutely going to stop all those people out. Now, if you look at this on a 3-day time frame, you can see that this lower market structure here, these are 3-day candles. That is a great area to look for a resistance hold if this continues higher. That level is 92.157. All right, so you can go into a daily time frame over here with that area marked out, and you can see also that it just happens to coincide with a daily time frame market structure swing low. All right, you can see on this push down, we never got down to the line. We wicked through it, but we closed above it. And then the next candle was bullish until the breakdown. Once you had that breakdown, you can see here clearly on this daily bullish candle, that was a retest of old support, now resistance, and see ya. So it's that simple. I am expecting the dollar to find support, possibly around 90.765, and then look for higher prices on the dollar for the near term. This is absolutely not something that you want to look to swing trade or invest in, because this trend is so bad to the downside. This asset is bearish. However, you can clearly see a Quasimodo inverse head and shoulders there. We have broken out. We have closed above that. All right. So people are going to be looking at this as a buying opportunity on the near term. I am expecting price to move up to at least that 92.157 area to test that area as resistance. All right. And then we could look to see what happens when the market gets back up to there. So this bullish dollar strength is also what's causing silver to have a pullback. All right. So maybe I jumped the gun by getting long in this area, but we will see. Thanks for your explanation. Very good stuff. Go Sava. You did options? No, with Sava I bought shares. Although shares. What strike expiration are your calls? I got them out for over a month. So good to be live. Greeting from Sydney. What's up, Filippo? Apologies. Aussie dollar heat sell opportunity. Yep, I'm gonna get into that, man. That's why I went live tonight. It's just a lot easier to go live than it is to make a video. There is a lot of price action setups that are staring us in the face right now for swing trades. All right, first off, let me go to the Euro USD. You can see here that I have this blue line test, which was simply this high that we were looking at for a target when we were trading in this area. We absolutely got that target. I swing traded this all the way up to here. It was a great trade, and I'm still bullish on this asset. If we start closing candles below 1.20131, then I will look at this as a possible breakdown. There is a trend line that you can throw on this if you are a new trader. Just simply take it from this low, from the May 14th, 2020 candle, and peg it to that low right there. That candle is on November the 4th, 2020. And if you look real quick, you can see that we have came into that trend line, and also we are testing this wick high. All right, I like to use candle bodies as support, but traditional support and resistance levels do work. All right, so essentially what you see here is currently prices tested that old high right there, and we have found possibly 5 or 6 buyers. So we have to wait to see what happens here. All right, obviously the near term is down. So basically, if you're looking to short this asset, see what happens if you get a pop up into one spot 21120, which is just this swing low here. I would rather use that candle, but this is going to be an area of resistance. If I just put this line here like that, you can see we held this and we've held this with that area. So that's just basically how traditional areas work. Traditional support and resistance. That's how it works. You got a daily closure below that level, which was the first one since this swing low has not been retested yet on a daily time frame. So when a daily time frame gets up into this area, if you're short this asset, might be a good spot to look for a resistance hold. All right, USDJPY is doing the same thing, essentially because the DXY is so strong, it has broken out. Now, let me get rid of all this stuff. That trend line is done because it broke out. It is possibly going to be testing it again. We don't know. Currently, we have found support or resistance right here. If I had to wager a guess, I would say it's probably due to that low there, because you can see it held price, and we're right back up in it. Now, we did close above that today, so let's see what happens. All right, this is for swing trading strategies. All right, so basically, we got this swing high over here that was put in on January the 12th. Well, actually, the day before, January 11th, made a higher high. But however, nonetheless, if the dollar is going to continue up, because we have made, this was our low put in, then we made a higher high, right? We have currently made a lower low. So you don't want to buy USDJPY up here. You want to wait for USDJPY to find support. Your next areas to look for support would be this swing high at 104 spot 517 right here, and then you have one right below that. But there's no use in putting so many lines in such a tight area. Just box this out if you want to. Look for what happens to price if it comes back down into this area. A rejection in this area could mean an opportunity to get long, targeting 105 spot 678. All right. Now, as far as I'm concerned, this is not done enough yet for me to get bullish, but for the last several weeks, it has been bullish. All right. And I am a near-term trader more than a swing trader. I do take swing trades. I am in a swing trade on CAD yen to see if we can get a breakout of this resistance here. So let me remove that for anybody that's just joining that didn't see that part. I am long on CAD yen. I got long on it as a day trade this morning, and essentially it did not do what I wanted it to do. It reversed right here at this market structure level perfectly, and I told everybody in the chat that I no longer like it as a day trade because, well, we rejected here, and that is an absolute flawless scalp trade setup for a short. But the reason I like it long was because the daily candle was still green. The trend is up. You know what I mean? If I pull this out, you can see the near-term trend is absolutely up. And yeah, so I'm only looking for bullish entries on this. Plus, I know there are a ton of stops resting right above 82 spot 214. All the momentum oscillators were telling anything from a 4-hour and up to sell. So basically, retail has shortened this market, assuming that it's going to go down. I was one of them on a smaller time frame. Once we started to sell off today, in this area right here was where the sell-off happened. I got long on this wick down. All right, you can see it essentially tested that wick high right there as a traditional area of support and resistance, because I could not find anything as my levels that I look for. That was the only thing I could find. We started to move higher. I got long right there on a swing trade, so I wasn't as levered up as I usually am on my day trades. So this is a swing trade. I got my stop just crest right up underneath that low right there, and I'm situated good. So I do expect this to find support tonight, and by tomorrow, I am expecting this thing to be blasting through all of those stops. All right, so let's go look at AUD USD, because this is another asset that it's been selling off with the dollar, like Euro USD. Let's get rid of all these old lines and start anew. All right, so essentially the Aussie dollar has been flawlessly executing like just beautiful trades to the downside. All right, you basically have this market structure swing high here. When this bearish candle was put in on a daily time frame, any push up was being looked at as a selling opportunity. All right, because you are no longer taking out market structures to the high side, you are now starting to take out market structures to the low side. So that is how you judge direction for your swing trading opportunities. Now, since the dollar and the Euro USD are both, well, the Euro USD is coming into a crucial area, the dollar not so much. Where did it go? There it is. The dollar not so much. We did get a daily closure above this market structure swing high, and we are trading back below it. So essentially, if this daily candle tomorrow takes out the low of today, you still have this trend line that people are going to be looking for an area to buy. And you also have this market structure swing high that coincides with that as well. So I guess it does pretty much look like the euro. This would be an area to look for buys. People are going to be looking at the dollar as bullish. So with all that, the Aussie dollar has been selling off as well. Now, basically, the Aussie dollar has found support right here at this, well, that's basically it. Just this market structure swing high. I'm going to use this upper one here. So right here, so far, this is your last market structure to watch to see if you get any closures below. Not this candle, because this candle's opening price is below these candles. And since price is attacking this level from the upside, you could even probably call that your level, which I like that level better, seeing as you got an absolute flawless test of that level, but you have currently tested it again, but you did close above it. So this area down here will be a target for swing traders. Look for support or resistance hold at spot 76624, which is simply just the opening price of this bullish candle. You can see that price did test it twice already. So if this daily candle comes up into this area, all right, do not immediately get short. Wait to see what happens, because it could come all the way up here and test the opening price of this bullish candle as well. All right, so if you get a wick up here and then a closure back below 0.76624, might be an opportunity to look short, targeting this wick down here, which is the low, all right, at 0.75638. This is a pullback area. All right, this is no time to be shorting the Aussie dollar. Even if you wake up in the morning, or if you're watching this all night long tonight, even if you see price go lower, it has not given you a setup. You need a setup. Basically, if price were to trade back up into this area here, like so, and start to act like it's finding resistance, this would be a setup. You would be targeting this area down here, and your risk to reward, let's just say we use a little bit below this line here. If I can get it to work, there we go, targeting 106 pips. All right, so you would put your stop above this wick high. That gives you a great risk to reward on this asset, and that's the way you have to start looking at these things. All right, you can't just you can't chase price, guys. Jordan tells you every day, I tell you every chance I get, you can't chase price. You have to wait for setups. Something like this looks good for a swing trade, right? That's a 4.89% or That's almost a 5-to-1 trade if you wait for something like that. All right, that's what you need to wait on if you're looking at Aussie dollar. However, Aussie yen looks better to me, first and foremost, because it's been trading range bound. Let me go back down to the JXY, which is the Japanese yen index. Now, if you remember, I said that we got a breakout of this thing. We've broken out of this ascending wedge, or whatever you want to call this. It is a pattern. It is be held in price until we broke out of that. All right, we broke out of that Friday. Now, we did retest that area on a single day. All right, but I don't like those single day tests. What I like to look for is something like this. We broke out, we come down, we made an impulse leg to the downside. Now what I'm looking for is something like this to play out. All right, if we're going to see more yen weakness, it might not happen this week. It may take all the way up until next week. Or then again, tomorrow we may push up into this area. I'm looking at the 95.5 area. That is the area where I will be watching for a daily candle to fail to close above. And it's delineated by that turquoise line right there. Because you have that trend, that underneath side of that trend line coming in there as well. I do believe that we'll offer up a lot of confluence to have these short sellers re-engage this market. At that point, Aussie yen would be one of the most phenomenal short trades to take. I mean, it would be a long trade to take, but while it's pushing down, when the JXY is going up, this thing should be trading lower. All right, you can see here with this area down here at 79.642, they have not been able to close a daily below that. That tells you something. That tells you that the buyers are more aggressive than the sellers down here, simply because you can't even get a daily to close below that. So look for this to come into play. All right, I'm not looking to short this. I'm looking to possibly get long this. Hopefully, after it takes out the liquidity resting under 79.203, which is this daily candle. So going forward into the week, I may look to short Aussie yen as a scalp trade only, targeting 79.203. All right, let me get rid of this line because it's absolutely useless. This line is absolutely useless as well. All right, so tomorrow, if we're trading in this area, I may look to short this, targeting 79.203, at which point I will exit the full trade, because if we get that yen weakness from this here, then yen pairs are going to go higher, right? So essentially targeting this area for the near term. Longer term, the swing trade on this is to wait for a possible test of this area, because you will have liquidated everybody that is long underneath this wick. You have taken those people out, and you have a nice firm market structure swing low right here to look for a support test and a support hold. Obviously, if you close the daily below that, the trade idea I just said is absolutely gone. All right, this is just a near term, and what I'm possibly looking for to happen the rest of this week and into next week. But I will, by Saturday or Sunday, have the actual Forex weekly outlook video out for you guys. That way we'll have more data to go by to set up these trades. Now, also another one is NZD yen, but you can see how strong this thing is. I mean, currently it is already taken out this high here. We took that out already, but we have already taken out that high. So this thing is strong. But with the yen, with that yen down there like that, if it starts to push up to find lower high resistance, then you can absolutely bet that this thing will trade lower to find higher low support. All right, so that's what I'm looking for. NZD yen. NZD is stronger than Aussie, which is why I like Aussie better. Aussie yen, apologies, which is why I like Aussie yen better for the near term short scalp, aiming at 79.203. The longer term swing trade is to buy this thing as long as it is finding support no lower than 79.014. All right, and also pound. I believe pound looks like it is trying to roll over. Okay, pound dollar. it is not able to get above this market structure swing high. We did close an 8-hour candle above that and immediately rejected. All right, that level was 1.37431. Moving forward, tomorrow morning and the rest of the week, I will be watching pound, how it reacts around 1.37050 to see if we find resistance here. As you can see, this is a big bodied candle, and so are these. So I will go into a smaller time frame to see if I can find an area just a little higher, like right there at 1.37232. Why that area? First off, it's this bullish candle's opening price. Second off, it will smoke everybody that's already short, that has their stops resting above this high. Would be a beautiful place to find resistance, to roll over, to aim for this low that was made already. All right, so that's what I'm looking at on pound dollar. So as you can see, there are quite a bit of setups near term and longer term that are looking at us right now. All right, Will Heath, what do you think about pound yen here? Pound yen, oh damn, that banner's still on. Sorry about that, guys. Let me get rid of that. Pound yen here. Well, like I said, Will, I am absolutely basically I'm waiting on the Japanese yen. All right, the Japanese yen. We don't know if this is pound strength right now, but you can see that it is structured on a 1-hour chart to the downside. Let's go up to the 8 hours. So pound has not been able against the dollar to trade above any relevant market structures on the upside. All right, now this does kind of make me weary here. So you're in one of those areas to where you are essentially range bound, basically taking just the candle bodies like so. So the top end of your range is 143.874. The bottom end of your range is 143.356. Now, this is bullish. This is structured bullishly on the swing trading side of things. Let me just stretch it out so you can see is absolutely strong as can be. But if the pound is going to have trouble getting any higher, then once the yen has sussed itself out, we will have to see. I mean, we're in a really, really precarious area on the yen pairs, but I like them a lot for pound or for yen weakness. Or then again, everything on this yen could just be a bear trap. So if we start heading up higher, then that will bring all these yen pairs back in as short plays. But currently for the rest of this week, excuse me, let me grab a drink. So essentially, for the rest of this week, I already have my targets laid out for what I'm looking for. I am looking for yen weakness, and as long as I get that, then I will be looking for these things to move higher. Now, as far as pound yen is concerned, you are trading in this range. So let's see what happens when we wake up tomorrow morning, or at least if you live in an area where you will be up for the London Open, let's see what happens at 143.676. All right, we could have this candle wick up and maybe find resistance and head lower. You do have a beautiful scalp trade target at 143.134, which is simply the wick low of this bullish candle, but you also have a beautiful target to the upside. And essentially, let me get rid of this line. You can kind of see that you're almost in the middle of that range. There is no high probable trade to take on this asset with the data that I have currently. That may all change when I wake up in the morning. You know what I mean? This is in a wait and see area. It absolutely is, because this was absolutely strong last week. Last week, this thing was just see ya. So this could just be like viewed as a bull flag for now. And if we get yen weakness, it will absolutely move higher. But with the pound getting ready to look like it's topping out, I mean, it really does to me. It looks like it is topping out. I mean, we've been trading within these prices for weeks now. Let me just go out here. Let me get rid of these lines and just basically show you what I'm talking about. All right, since we had this strong weekly candle right here, I'll use basically the opening price of that essentially, because we took that out with the very next week with a strong bullish candle. So this is your area right here. That level is 1.34399. And you can see for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks, we have really not been able to close very much higher than this swing high. With this weekly candle here, you got a little bit higher close, and this one too. But now we're working on this weekly candle. So basically you're in a range, and you have been for several weeks on the pound dollar. So if we have dollar strength coming out, this thing I have to assume is going to head lower. I mean, Euro USD's already made that move. Looking at the weekly candles, you can clearly see that Euro is absolutely weaker than the pound. So I'm not exactly sure as to what you want to do with the pound yen, but you got to keep that in mind. All right. The pound is trading. It looks like it's having trouble. It looks like it wants to roll over. So tomorrow, what I'm expecting out of the pound, honestly, is for it to be rejected somewhere eventually. I mean, this was a doji. You did not smoke this liquidity yet. You came down to it, but you did not trade lower than it. So I mean, that looks like a healthy target for tomorrow, possibly, if we find resistance on a smaller time frame chart. You can do that by simply going and grabbing an hourly chart. You can see that we are currently testing this bullish candle here. I will pull that up for you. So this is your current area to look for as resistance. If you get an hourly closure above that area, your next area is going to be simply this swing high. All right. If you get above that, this is going to be your next area. So you basically have to wait. It's going to be a whole lot of waiting and seeing. But I am currently long CAD yen, and I am expecting this thing to break out. Hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow. If it comes down and stops me out, it's all good. I just lost 1% on the position. All right, guys. That's basically all I had for you. I just basically wanted to show you the trade that I took. Yeah, the 2 trades I took today on that biotech play in CAD yen. Let me go see if I can find any comments in the comment section. Yeah, I don't know, Shane. Like I said, I don't know if I like Aussie yen short right here. I liked it short at the beginning of the week and last week. Obviously, with hindsight, you can see that. But let's see what happens. If you find, let me delete all these things. Look for this area right here. This is going to be your first area, in my opinion, to look for a resistance hold. 0.76212. If you can't get an 8-hour closure above this area by the London Open, like if the London session opens, if you're looking shorter term, if the London session fails up here and starts to roll over, might be a good spot to look for a short entry. All right, but you have came down and you are into all of this stuff over here, and you can see with this doji on an 8-hour, you know, people are going to look at that as a morning star formation. It did close bullish. It didn't on a daily. You can see there we did not close bullish on the daily, so that's important as well. I would let this thing see what happens. I would much rather short this asset up here at 0.76624 Aussie dollar. That is if we're going to have continued dollar strength. All right, guys, that's all I got. If you guys got nothing else, I'm going to say good night, and we will talk to you tomorrow or the next day or whenever. So, all right, guys, have a good night.